Okay, hello everybody, viewers of the Amber Army YouTube channel. Welcome to another Amber Talk vidcast, and unfortunately it's just me and Ollie today, but hopefully you'll enjoy what me and him have got to talk about. Obviously, being the pre-season, the talking points are few and far between unless something significant happens, but thankfully the last couple of weeks have brought us some more signings, some notable outgoings, and of course the release of the fixture list, cup draws, and upcoming trust board elections. So we're going to be covering all that in this vidcast. So on the last one, I know we put an open invitation to anybody who wants to put in a talking point that you'd like us to pick up next time. We didn't get that last time, although I'd like to think at some point some of you are going to have something you want us to bring up in one of these videos. So please feel free in the comments down below, throwing a talking point, and we'll do our best to get it on the next vidcast. So, like I said, just me and Ollie. Ollie, thanks for joining me tonight, mate.
No problems. It's a problem. It's pre-season. The rest of them are in contracts talk, aren't they?
No.
That's to a signed on.
No, that's it. Either that or in a pool somewhere or on a sunbed somewhere, sunning it up and tanning it up, obviously.
Somewhere better than Newport.
Yeah, so we'll kick straight in then. And another couple of signings.
Another two off of the back of the five that we spoke about in the last vidcast. First one that was announced was Offrande Zanzala. It's a bit of a mouthful, that one. 25-year-old striker who's come on a free from Barrow. He was playing at Exeter last season on loan, scoring 2 goals in 15 games. Not a very prolific goal scorer, but there's a point I made on Twitter that strikers in League Two are always a bit of a gamble. You look at the record of obviously Dom Telford and Harry McCurdy before they joined County and Swindon respectively. They weren't the greatest prior to those clubs, but Telford came in and scored 26 goals, and McCurdy has gone to Swindon and become one of the best strikers in the league. So there's nothing to say that Zanzala won't be good. It's just the typical Newport County fans trashing a player before they've even got on the pitch.
Yeah. And the thing that's pissing me off as well is people would have watched Taff's Word, and you heard me having a whinge about this before. Is the people going on about, I don't see where the goals are coming from. And they said that last season, and it was abundantly clear after a little while where the goals were coming from in the end. And they did come from somewhere, as we know. And you've just mentioned him and not having the best of goal scoring records beforehand, the same as you say Harry McCurdy, but then you can spin off, many strikers who have got good goal scoring records on the back of not having a great one beforehand. Jamil Matt comes to mind as well. He had a great goal scoring run this season. He's been scoring goals for Forest Green. But then before he joined us, his goal scoring record was particularly poor. For me, I think it's up to the managers to pinpoint players that they believe are going to fit into their system and are going to bounce off each other. So if we got the right midfield and fullback connections to supply these players, because as long as they can find the goal, I mean, Dom Telford couldn't find the goal, but he found it 26 times this year. Jamil Matt, Harry McCurdy couldn't find the goal, but in the right team with the right service, they can score goals. So I think people need to wait and give us we always say about a 10-game period, a judging period whenever, we get something new. So like a new manager, Terry Butcher, Warren Feeney, and Michael Flynn, we always sort of held them to, the first 10-game type rule. I think players that should apply to them also. I think, within 10 games, you're going to work out if they're going to be good for us or not. Courtney Baker-Richardson, when he came back from injury, turned out he was going to be good for us. When Dom Telford played that game against Plymouth and scored that great goal and had a great game, and then got himself into the first team.
Yeah.
he turned then. So it's just circumstantial. It's just certain players bounce off each other better than other players will. And certain managers, if they play them in the right way or in the right positions, you're going to get better out of them. Personally, I think, we've got Zanzala, we got Zimba, we've got Collins. I'm trying to think of the other forward players that we're going to have for next season. We're a bit light on that at the moment, I believe.
Yeah.
I think we are obviously going to need more up front. But if we move on to the next signing, and Zanzala, I don't know much about him, but there would have been a reason why a team like Exeter would have wanted him for last season. I won't say much more than that. Let's just see what he brings to the team, and judge him after he's played some games, and don't look at his goal scoring record, because, like I said, plenty of people could judge other prolific League Two strikers about their previous goal scoring record. It's just a matter of, finding yourself in the right team, with the right players around you. But obviously from the 5 signings that we made initially, we obviously had some obvious gaps in our team. But then from the last time we spoke, Dom Telford hadn't gone anywhere. So the forward position is obviously a gap to be filled. But the one that we did fill, which I felt was important, was the left back position.
Yeah, Adam Lewis, the 22-year-old on loan from Liverpool. He's got prior experience of English football with Plymouth. He's also played at Amiens in France and Livingston up in Scotland. I think we needed a backup left back when Ryan Haynes left, who has now gone to Northampton. And I feel like we're quite good with the fullbacks, because Cameron Norman is quite versatile. He can play as a right back or a centre back. Aaron Lewis is very versatile, playing on the left or the right. I know Adam Lewis can play centre mid. It's not something he's comfortable with, but he is competent there. And I think, again, it's just a positive move for the club. Loan moves have always helped us out in massive ways. I don't need to list off the successful loanees, but he doesn't look like a bad player. He looks tidy, could help us out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, you don't play for the teams that he's played for. You don't get held on by Liverpool without having something about you. And if you look, the fact that he's a full-back and where he's come from, you look how good the full-backs are at Liverpool currently.
Yeah.
He's going to have picked up some traits that we're going to certainly find useful at some point this season coming up. I'm excited about this one. You're kicking in. I don't know where it's coming from. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings. I got a feeling he's going to be our first choice at left back, with Norman our first choice at right back, and Aaron Lewis is going to be sort of the backup for both sides, unless there is a right back on the horizon.
From what Rowbury's been saying in some pre-season press conferences and little interviews the club have posted, it sounds like Harrison Bright is training with the first team and Rowbury is including him as a member of the first team. I think Rowbury quoted saying we've got 24 players or however many odd, Harrison Bright included. So it sounds like we've got the 2 Lewises on the left and then Cameron Norman and Harrison Bright on the right.
Well, that's pleasing to know, that is, because it's good to see some of our youth players breaking through. Lewis Collins has been the biggest breakthrough, since we had that trio back in the day, of Poole, Aaron Collins and Tom Owen Evans. When they all broke through, Kieran Parsell included on that. There was 4 of them, and it was quite exciting at the time. Unfortunately, none of them guys play for us anymore. But they've made us a little bit of money, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what youngsters, the youngsters with the potential, they're either going to be, great players for us, or they're going to make us the money to progress as a football club. So the fact that Harrison Bright is considered as looking at it, from all the signals I've been getting, just picking up on what people are saying, like I'm sure it was the Adam Lewis, or was it the Declan Drysdale interview, where they basically gave away the fact that Rowberry's planning on playing with a back three and wing backs next season, which for me is pleasing. Because I think any players at the club that would be considered as wingers are obviously going to be forwards for us with the three-man midfield.
Yeah.
So a back three tells me Dolan's going to be starting in the middle of those back three.
Yeah.
And that worked really well for us 2 years ago.
In terms of what we've got as centre backs, we've got Mickey Dimitriou, James Clark, Priestley Farquharson, and Declan Drysdale. You can float Matty Dolan and even to a lesser extent Scott Bennett into that category. So if we are going to play with a three-man, I think we've got a very solid group of defenders who can play in those roles.
Yeah. I mean, there's still talk of Pask as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I know we went over him either in the last Vidcast or the one before. I think we need a Josh Pask who's got a less serious injury record. He's a good defender. He's quite competent at this level. But I think the injuries is what does him out. So it's interesting.
To tell you what, then, right? If we're looking, if we're saying that Rowberry needs one more centre back to be thrown into the mix, well, first of all, you've got if he rates Harrison Bright so well, Cameron Norman is there as a backup centre back with Bright or Aaron Lewis as our right back. But throw this, so throw this into the mix then as well. We'll have a particular amount of money in wages, on budget available to us. And the problem area for us is striker.
Yeah.
That is where we really need to backfill. That's what I think is the most important part of the pitch for us right now. I think we're about two strikers away and maybe another midfielder, from having a reasonable squad. Well, not just a reasonable squad, but a more or less full squad. Obviously, there's still some lone players left. I mean, we're allowed to have 5 in a match day squad.
So no 5 in a match day squad. So
5. So, I think there's players left, that we can have on loan.
Yeah.
But at the same time, utilising all them players on strikers means we're going to be bringing in a lot of inexperience. So what I'm talking about now is if the centre-back area is an area that Rowberry wants to fill, but we've only got enough budget to bring in one centre-back and one reasonable striker, whereas using all of that budget could bring in a top-class League Two striker. Why not throw Joe Woodywis into the mix?
Yeah. Yeah, because I know he's signed a contract with this academy development squad we've got, but I don't think that limits players from joining the first team. So there's every chance that he can come in, or as you said, Cameron Norman moves across and Harrison Bright comes in. So Rowberry will know what he wants and what signings he needs to make, and whether he feels confident with Harrison Bright starting for 90 minutes. So I don't think it's an area to stress on. I think striker is the way to go. The only worrying part is bringing in a striker on loan. You're putting a massive amount of the dependency on that striker to perform well and for them to be kept on in January. We saw how badly we collapsed in not the season gone, the season before, where we had all 5 of our decent known players taken back on one day, the Scott Twines and the Brandon Coopers. So you've got to try and get a loan player that helps the squad, but they're not reliant on them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lone player that helps the squad, a lone player that is going to be a great player for us as well. But then you've got to look at the likelihood of being called back. So Liverpool are not exactly going to need to call back Adam Lewis.
No.
So if he's performing well for us at left back, the only reason why they'd call him back is to send him to a team in a higher division.
Yeah.
To bring him up a level. But, personally, I don't think that would happen because, if you look at, Ben White as a glowing example of not putting him at a point where he was progressing and he was happy. You want these players to progress. Leave them where they are if things are going well. So hopefully that will come into play with any loan players.
I guess an argument you can make as well is what we've seen with him as this season. He was absolutely astonishing the whole season through. Villa could have easily called him back in January and sent him to a League One club, but they opted to let him stay at Newport, carry on the development, and as a result, he went and got Young Player of the Season, and that raises his stocks a lot more if they wanted to sell him to a League One or a Championship club. You can get a lot more money for the League Two Young Player of the Season as opposed to a player who's had half a decent season in League Two.
Yeah, or if they'd have picked him up, if they'd have picked him out of us and put him into a League One club and he didn't quite do it there in the same way as he did it with us, no doubt he would for me. But when you get that momentum, when you take them away and you disturb that momentum, there's no guarantee that they're going to get that back with another club. So that's why I think
back at the
yeah. So I think if they're playing well enough, leave them be.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the two signings covered there. And obviously, you mentioned that since we last spoke, that Ryan Haynes has now joined Northampton, but we knew he was leaving anyway.
Yeah.
But the two main ones is obviously Courtney Baker Richardson joining Crewe, which Crewe maybe offered him a little bit more money. Was he good enough to go to a higher division? Probably not.
No.
Would Crewe have offered him more money than us? Yeah.
Yeah.
More than likely.
I think the 2-year contract helped out as well as an extra bit of security for him.
Yeah.
And it's a bit more of stability job-wise, so you can't really blame him. The other small one, just before we go on to the main outgoing, Kev Ellison obviously has left the club, was in talks about having a player coach role or a coach role. I think he just wants to be a player. Credit to the lad, he's 43, so if he wants to go and play, then...
I remember when I was talking to him on one of these kinds of videos, it was exactly this kind of video a couple of years ago, and he told me, how much he wanted to carry on playing.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot in the last 2 years that would tell me that he's not capable of doing that. Right. So the second half of the season, we didn't really see him much, but maybe that's because of the facial injury that he got, and obviously he just lost his place in the squad and couldn't win it back. But I'd like to think. I don't think there's going to be any League Two clubs or above that will take a punt on him. I do think he's going to be looking at, non-league if he wants to play.
Yeah.
But there's one club that springs to mind, which is relatively close to relatively close to home for him, and someone who's played for before, and that's Southport. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going there.
Yeah, if he's getting regular playing time and he's got to go back to Southport, then happy for him. But wherever he goes, he's going to be a valuable asset to whatever club he ends up at.
Yeah, because some players bring more than just playing ability, to a football club. Anyone who can raise spirits and dress like him.
Yeah. I think the main one to talk about, though, is Dom Telford. I think you could have given me 100 guesses at clubs in the EFL pyramid, and Crawley would not have been on that list.
I would have been looking at top end National League clubs before I thought of Crawley.
Yeah, the Wrexhams and teams like that.
Yeah. So you could have said like a Wrexham or, well, an Oldham if they're going to have the right kind of money. Well, someone who's going to be ambitious enough to want to get promoted
and
back
not
up into
county
League Two.
teams like that.
I would have gone for someone like that before Crawley. Crawley is just such a meh club for me. They're just, for me, they're just like a club that makes up the numbers. There's nothing special about Crawley Town at all. There's no appeal to them. I just don't get it unless, these owners who are these American cryptocurrency investors have just got so much money on the back of it. The thing to remember, though, is that we do have an FFP in League Two and some kind of salary cap. And that's why the likes of Salford and that haven't progressed as much as they maybe like to have. I mean, Forest Green made the most of being able to bring in some of their players like the Boo Adams before the salary cap came in.
Yeah.
So they were able to build upon it like that and bring in the right kind of couple of players and have the right manager to push them over the line the way that they did. So for me, apparently he's on $5,000 a week.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
To join a club like Crawley when he was top scorer last season. I mean, don't get me wrong, Crawley didn't have a bad season in the end, and I know they finished just below us, but look, they still finished 12th, mid-table. It's a mid-table League Two team that he's joined. You could call us mid-table because that's where we finished, but we were in the promotion chase where Crawley were never in it. We fell away through bad form. The only reason we finished 11th is because for the last few weeks of the season, there was 11 teams who were fighting for fucking promotion, Crawley was one of those teams that just weren't in it. They were just in the chasing pack, well behind in the end.
Yeah, they were consistently mid-table where we was playoff to automatic, so just as a bit of a nosedive in the last few games of the season. So I think it exposes his lack of ambition, but as you said, when he's on $5,000 a week, you can't really blame him taking that 3-year deal as well.
No, I'm not going to knock him for taking that.
League Two.
I mean, football's a short career as it is, and the thing for the likes of Dom Telford, he won't have been earning a massive wage up until this point. So, like I say, football's a short career. Yeah, he's still only like 24, but until the age of 27/28, he's going to rake in £250,000.
Yeah.
That's is that a year per year as well? That is, isn't it?
Yeah, per year on a 3-year contract, he's earning just shy of 800,000 over the whole contract. So
the contract. Obviously, you got your appearance bonuses and your scoring bonuses and things like that. So the contract itself is going to be not that far off £1 million. Contract like that for a player who's played in League 2/League 1 for his whole career is astonishing.
Yeah.
If that is true, if the 5K per week is true, it's unbelievable. So I can't blame him for taking that. It's just a shame, he didn't get what he deserved, and that was, a bigger move to, a League One club or even a bottom end Championship club. I was expecting that for him. I was waiting for him to declare who he was playing for, and I was expecting someone like an Ipswich Town or a Sheffield Wednesday to announce his signing. Crawley Town was just such an underwhelming signing, club for him to play for. It has to be for the money, and and if I was in his shoes and I could play for Sheffield Wednesday for £2,000 or Crawley Town for £5,000 on a 3-year contract, I would have done the same thing as him.
Yeah, you can't blame him from a human point of view.
No, that's too much money for him to turn down, and set himself up for life with,
Yeah. Moving on to the friendlies, then we've announced the full fixture list. Starting off on the 1st of July against Dundee, at their ground, the Causeway, I believe, at 7 p.m. It's just one of those games that happens every pre-season. I was a bit sceptical if we check as Michael Flynn has gone, but it's still there. I feel like we're going to play him until the day we die.
Yeah, but you see, the Andy link is not as much about Michael Flynn as it is Mark Crook.
Yeah.
Mark Crook is a co-opted board member of ours, and he has some kind of stake. I don't know whether he's the actual owner of Andy or whether he is, just someone who is involved with Andy. But there is the stronger link is Crookie and Andy rather than Flinney and Andy. To be honest with you, I think the Crookie link is what pulled Flinney there for his first actual management job. When he was there initially. But I usually go every season. I'm not going to go this season because they've doubled the price that they charge. You had some guy going on to the Newport County Facebook groups, not quite the main one, not quite the county chat, but he was on the nostalgia group trying to tell everybody that he spoke to James Robury and Robury said he's bringing a full team there. I don't think so somehow. And it's quite convenient that he's part of that football club and he's trying to tell everybody, knowing that publicly a lot of fans who usually go have said they're not because of the price. It's quite convenient, that, isn't it? How he said that to him, on the back of, we're going to get hardly anybody here because we doubled our price.
Yeah.
And what a time to do it, though. When every other fucking thing, in the world is getting more and more expensive for everybody, they think that now is the right time to double the price. I mean, and a Friday night out to go and watch that game, I usually look forward to it every season, and I go, and I'm happy to pay my £5, go in there and I'll buy a burger off their barbecue. I'll go in and have some Cokes. Obviously, I don't drink, as you know. I'm happy to buy a few Cokes from their clubhouse, and I enjoy the evening, watching the trialists and the youth players that they throw into the mix there. And there we go, Now, that's not worth paying a tenner. I'm not being down a tenner. Now, I don't even know, I can't even remember if they charge the parking as well. So I'm quite sure they take a couple of quid off you for parking there, which is fine. I don't mind that. But, if you're down £10 before you've even started, and then you throw your parking, you get your burger and your drinks, and all of a sudden, the Friday evening becomes a £30 to £40 night, or even more if you're a drinker as well. It really pushes you off, when you're £10 down before you've even started. No, not for me this year, unfortunately.
If it was a guarantee of a full-strength Newport County side, you can understand the price increase, but we all know it's likely going to be trialists and the development squad, so it's not worth the money, and I think they've shot themselves in the foot massively with it.
And look, I'd be disappointed if we were taking a full squad there. I mean, because these lower grade pitches are not good for pre-season for injuries. Now we've seen it when Lionel John Lewis got injured at Caldecott Town, and to be honest with you, that was the Great Escape season, and he only came back for the last couple of games. Now he's the kind of striker that may have had us scored enough goals to have had us out of that position in the first place. We would have been a bit more comfortable for us, but no, I'm not going to take the Great Escape away from us. It's a great memory, of course, but that there could have been what cost Warren Feeney his job, playing him in that game and him doing his knee in and losing him for pretty much the whole season. He's the kind of striker that could have got the goals, because Warren Feeney's games, he had the usual 10-game thing, and, he unfortunately got the sack on the back of that because within 10 games we were bottom of the league. But we were in a lot of those games, none of those games we got battered in. Having Lionel John Lewis on the pitch could have provided us with, the firepower up front that we needed to have got a goal in a crucial point of the game, which could have seen us win the game rather than lose the game. Warren Feeney may not have lost a job on the back of that. I think Robury, if he takes, and I'm not going to refer to Andy's pitch as a second-rate pitch, because I'd want to be disrespectful to them, because I got a lot of time for them as a football club. But at the end of the day, they're a Welsh League team. They're not League Two or or top end sort of non-league or anything like that. I just wouldn't feel comfortable if Rotary was taking a full team. Given our history on playing on those kinds of pitches, like what happened at Caldecott.
So this Saturday after then, July 9th, we are playing Hungerford Town, somewhat at home. It's at Dragon Park. I believe it's part of the Velodrome Spitty, where we do a bit of training. Yeah. That's behind closed doors. So,
just around the corner from where I live. It's not going to be behind closed doors for me, because I'm going to take a walk up there and just stand there and watch it from outside the fence.
I walk in some binoculars. What is interesting to me about that is how the club will report it. Credit where credit is due. The amount of information that's come out of the club over the last season has been not much received, well received. I think it's much needed change. Usually the way we go about reporting these is just, this is the scoreline, there you go. Whether we'll get a lineup and minute by minute coverage, or whether it's just going to be, this is the lineup, that's the result, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, I think that the coverage from the club has been excellent the last few seasons, and you still get your whingers going on about, hey, we're always the last to know about everything. Like if certain players have signed for another club or they got on loan to another club, just because they put it out before we do doesn't mean that we're the last to know.
No.
There might be, like, I know when it comes to announcing transfers between two clubs, both clubs sort of agree on a time scale that they're going to put it out there. Some clubs may jump the gun on that a little bit. I can remember Newport County announcing a loan signing of someone via Twitter. Now, I don't know which way it was. I'm sure it was us announcing a loan signing from, oh God, I can't remember which club. We either signed a player or we loaned a player from that club, or loaned someone out to that club. I can't remember exactly who it was or what. All I can remember was we announced the signing, and that club actually tweeted back. Their admin tweeted back saying, it would be nice if you return our email or something like that, so we can actually register the player and and complete the transfer. So that's just proof that some clubs can jump in a little bit and not announce it correctly. I know we had the thing around Salisbury with that friendly that we had there during the season. I know it wasn't behind closed doors or whatever, but I know our lad Phil went there. But then I don't think it was something. It was like a Newport County development squad. So I don't understand why it was up to the club to tweet about that. I don't get why we needed to, but there we go. But you're right there, though. I think it really has improved over the last few years, because before it was pretty bad. A lot of fans call for transparency. I think you're certainly getting that now, at least with the information that wouldn't be regarded as sensitive or confidential.
12th of July, then, we are away to Cardiff City. A bit of an interesting one. It's not one 90-minute game, it's two games of 60 minutes. Not sure why, whether it's rotation or whether Cardiff just want a bit more of a low-intensity training. I'm not too sure, but it's a good test. We're not going to get a good result out of it, but I don't think pre-season is about getting results. It's about fitness.
Yeah, fitness, match sharpness, all that kind of stuff, sort of getting glimpses of players and what their capabilities are going to be, for the season. Yeah, I'm not that bothered about the results.
No.
It's just,
15th of July, then we are away to Weston-super-Mare at 7:30. It's a decent game. Is what is pre-season.
What? Because I know the day after we're playing Torquay away as well at 3:00.
Yeah.
So
Torquay's the next day.
Yeah. Well, hotels already booked in Torquay for both nights. So finish the Western game, go down to Torquay, and check in on a late check-in, and then obviously we're there then for the game the next day, staying that night and going home on the Sunday. So I think that's cracking, as far as allowing us to make a weekend of it, in two different seaside places. So, me and the missus and the family who are going down are really looking forward to that weekend.
Yeah, I think the club has smashed it with this Torquay game, because I think for a lot of fans it's a new ground on the list for the ones who like to do ground hopping, and also it's a lovely summer destination. They're a decent team. I think they're in National League South. They might be National League, I'm not too sure. But
Western, you mean?
No, Torquay.
Torquay, they're National League, mate. Only 2 years ago they got bobbed in the playoff final against Hartlepool, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So National League side, new ground for most people, and it's just a nice little place. I think it's a brilliant game. It's going to have a brilliant attendance, and I think it's just ticks all round for it.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, it makes for a good weekend. I mean, I know that it's both first team, but there's two different starting 11s. But it'd be first team with a mixture of trialists with both and youth with both. But there's going to be first teams in with it as well. No, it's going to be two good games over over 2 days, and I'm looking forward to that weekend. That's going to be great.
And then the final game to close it out is Forest Green Rovers away. I believe it's behind closed doors, so won't have to travel to Forest Green, which I know some fans will be more than happy about. It's not the nicest stadium. They're not missing out. But I think it's a good game. Yeah.
I think I would pass on that one anyway.
Yeah.
Just more or less out of principle because of the way we were treated last time there. But overall, I think it's a good pre-season package that we've got there. I suppose it's a bit of a shame that because Roddy Parade, the pitch has to get so much TLC every summer. The days of, clubs like QPR, Bolton, Stoke and Aston Villa coming down to play us in Newport are probably over.
Yeah.
But then, marquee games like that, they don't do an awful lot for the players. They do a lot for the finances of the club who've organised the game. As much as it'd be nice to bring in those kinds of finances, personally, I would prioritise, the sharpness and confidence and correct mindset, obviously fitness of the players over bringing in money from season games.
Yeah. So Forest Green will be the last pre-season game. That one is behind closed doors. But if you do want to watch us play against Forest Green Rovers, we've drawn against them in the Papazons Trophy, along with Exeter and Southampton under-21s. I think for most fans, it's a bit of a nothing competition. The one thing I will say is these group stage games, you get, I believe it's £10,000 for winning. There's serious money to be made in this tournament. I know not last year, the year before, Sunderland got to the final and lost to Portsmouth. Their owner said they made about £1 million off of that one cup run. I doubt we'll get to a final, but if we can get deep into that competition, there's some serious money there to win.
Oh, we were semi-finalists only a couple of years ago, weren't we?
Yeah. There, we played Salford and lost on penalties, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. And I believe we made a little bit of money on the back of that anyway as well.
Yeah.
There's TV money from the final. There's obviously the Wembley game. We get a split of the gate receipts from Wembley on that. So depending on who we'd play against, if it was a big club who'd fill out the one end, then like a Portsmouth
Yeah.
or Sunderland or someone like that, or maybe even like we could maybe get Derby or Sheffield Wednesday in that.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, there's possibilities of making money, and it's a good opportunity for some of the players who can't get into the first team to shine. I mean, it was a game like that, which was the emergence of Dom Telford,
Yeah.
that Plymouth game.
The lifeline he needed to kind of burst into the first team squad and have the season he did. So no, I think it's a good competition for money and for development, but I can understand why fans don't agree with it. The other cup fixture we have then is Luton away in the Carabao Cup on the 8th of August. I know a lot of fans are excited for that one. I've been told it's a good away day. You never know, we might go and win it. Sometimes these teams like to play weekend sides, start of the season. You can maybe scalp it, but I think either way it's going to be a good day.
I'd say Luton is going to be one of those. If they play a decent team, will lose. If they play a rotated team, and we play well enough, we could win.
Yeah.
We've beaten teams from higher divisions before in this competition. Maybe not so much away from home. At home, we've beaten Swansea and Watford from the Championship in the past.
Yeah.
Away from home, we haven't really won, but we did beat Brighton, in our first season back.
I want to say we beat Ipswich last season as well, 1-0.
But they were League One.
Yeah.
Championship, we haven't really. So we beat Brighton at the Championship, but after that, I believe we lost to Reading. We lost to. I'm thinking first round games now. We've lost to Reading away. We've lost to Wolves away. So I'd like to think that away to Luton, if it's a rotated team, we could win. If it's not, I doubt we will. But the thing is, I know people are saying about it being a good away day. Now, the importance of cup money to this football club, I don't even really need to go on about it, really, do I?
Yeah.
And even the Carabao Cup, nowhere near as much money in the Carabao Cup, but money to be made by progressing nonetheless. If anyone thinks, yes, we got Luton away, that's a great away day. Well, first of all, it's not an away day, it's an away Tuesday or Wednesday night, which not as many people will be able to make because of work commitments and things like that. I know that's one I'm not going to be able to go to. But if you're prioritising a good away day to go out in the cup with, or, there was a possibility that you may get a winnable tie so you can progress in the competition, or, end up getting someone where you could end up being away at a full stadium. Like, give a good example, if we'd got Cardiff away, that would have been different because Cardiff has got a big stadium. Because of the local derby, we'd have taken a massive away crowd because it's just up the road. No work commitments would get in the way of travelling there. So we would have taken 4,000, straight away, without a problem. They would probably fill their ground because there's a lot of people who've never experienced a Newport versus Cardiff competitive fixture before. So that there would have been worth it because of the money that we would have made on the back of it. Luton, for me, is not a great cup draw in any way, shape, or form. I criticise people for calling it a great cup draw when we drew them in the FA Cup because people thought, oh yeah, it's a hostile place to go, and so that makes it a good away day. And I'm thinking, well, what do you want, day out, or do you want to progress in the cup and the club make some money?
Yeah, it's a nice day out on the way there and a bit of a shitter on the way home.
Luton is a shithole, mate.
Yeah.
I've been there a few times. It's not the best of grounds in the world.
No.
There's a bit of hostility with their fans, but it's nothing really to shout about. And like I say, you slap bang in the middle. It is in a rough area of Luton. It's a shithole. It's pure and simple. It's not. There is no appeal to me that cup tie.
So that's Taff ban from Luton. Shall we move on to the league fixtures? wrap
Okay.
off.
I like
First
that
game
we're
of the season.
starting things with an away day.
Yeah. First game of the season is away to Sutton on the 30th of July. They've lost David Ajiboye, which
Yeah,
is
he's
a
got
massive
Peterborough,
loss for them. Yeah, it's
so
a massive loss for them. I'm not sure how they're going to cope this season. It all depends on who they sign. Still, plenty of time left. So, no, I think it's always nice to start with an away day.
and
Um,
it was an away day I couldn't make last season.
yeah,
I was away with Leanne on a week away. Um, yeah, for me, it'll be a new ground for me. First game of the season, a winnable game as well to kick things off. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously down London way as well. You know,
yeah.
the usual Canty rendezvous at Reading services en route. You know, that sort of thing.
The first home game we've got then is a bit of an interesting one. Walsall on the 6th of August. I think the obvious narrative there is going to be Michael Flynn and Wayne Hatswell returning back to Rodney Parade. Um, I think we'll give them a good reception. I think it'll be a good game all round as long as we win. I'm interested to see how they will react if they do score or if they do get the 3 points. Obviously, the away dugout is right in front of the Hazel Terrace, where the most vocal of the Amber Army stand.
Yeah.
So to see what kind of reception they get is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think the banter would be good. I think it'll be light-hearted. I think Flinny knows better than anybody, you know, the kind of reception away managers get there
Yeah,
anyway. So I don't think he's going to be expecting us to let him off lightly. But the thing is, then, you know, it's going to obviously crack the obvious jokes. You know, going to shake them. Also, you made it into the right dugout. Then, well done. You know, that
yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a good occasion, but as you said, you know, it's about getting the win. You want to win your first home game of the season. You know, we're looking at promotion. We want to start the season. We want to kick the season off with some wins. You know, we need to get
yeah,
some. We need to get some points on the board early doors if we are going to be, you know, considered as promotion candidates. I know some clubs emerge. I know there was a few emerging clubs who did well in the end, like Bristol Rovers and Exeter last season, but both got promotion. So, but to be honest with you, I'd rather be a bit of a pace setter.
yeah.
To be honest, like we were 2 years ago. Like we could have carried on being if we hadn't lost those 5 players, like you spoke about. You know,
Yeah.
but
Just so we're
yeah,
not, just so we're not here all night, I've picked out a few of the kind of important games fans look
yeah,
for. Boxing Day is Wimbledon away. Um, I think that's the big one because it's a new stadium for a lot of fans.
yeah.
Wimbledon are a team who don't often come into League Two, or at least we don't cross them often. So it'll be an interesting game, nice day out for some fans.
Yeah.
One to tick off on the list.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Uh,
their new ground.
yeah,
Definitely looking forward to
yeah,
seeing
it's
their new
nice.
ground.
Should be good. New Year's Day, we've got a home game against Crawley. Tom Telford coming back to Rodney Parade.
Mm.
I'm sure we'll have some sort of elaborate banter planned out for that. Maybe some fake paper notes being chucked on the pitch at him. It'll be an interesting one for him to come back. And the last game of the season is Crewe at home on the 6th of May. I feel like it's nice to end on a home game, even though we lost to Rochdale at home last day of the season. Season just gone, so it's
But I don't think we'd have lost that game if we had something to play for in that game. I
yeah,
think the players had pretty much switched off by then. You could see it in their performance. It wasn't a
yeah,
great performance, wasn't a great game. Crew at home could be important if Crew have got ambitions of getting back into League One, you know,
yeah.
and we are obviously got ambitions of being in League One. Could be a crucial way to end the season, really. Both
Hopefully
teams.
it's all wrapped up by then.
Hopefully so. Yeah.
I think
HMS
that wraps up. I think that wraps up everything on the agenda that we had to talk about.
I know we were going to mention something about the elections.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously, I think it's Gavin Fox or Sean Johnson, Mike Everett, and oh God, I can't think of the other guy's name now. No, it's not Peter. Got the handshake down to me. It's not Peter Madigan because he's co-opted. Peter Madigan and Mark Crook are co-opted, so they don't get elected. I can't remember the guy's name now. I can't understand why I can't remember his name. But there's 4 of them who were up, their terms are ending, but they can put themselves up for re-election. I got a feeling Gavin Fox will do. I think he plays an important role for the club, and I'd like to think he's going to carry on. Obviously, Sean Johnson's been there from the beginning. I'd like to see him stay and carry on doing what he's been doing. Mike Everett, very much in the background. I don't know an awful lot about what Mike does as a director, but either way, you want a good mix of directors there. So I'm hoping all of them go for re-election. I know Colin Faulkner has stepped down, so that leaves Kev Ward, Bob Herring, Kelly Anderson, and Joe Crocker as elected board members. Then
4 board members whose terms of office is coming to an end is Gavin Fox, Sean Johnson, Mike Everett, and Paul Marks.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Paul Marks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that will be happening on, I believe, the 31st of May. No, is that right? No, Friday the 8th of July.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you will remember, as of the 31st of May 2022. I do intend on making a little bit of a video on the trust, a little bit of information, what the directors do, how you can join the trust. Because I feel personally from my point of view, I have a basic understanding of what the trust does, but I would like to know more and kind of what the memberships and stuff can get you and how it supports the club. So it's something I intend on making a little video on and kind of learning for myself and trying to engage more with the club.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That is, mate. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're the owners of the football club. These directors aren't the owners; they're elected directors who we put in place. We're the owners of the football club, and owners have to subsidise the bills sometimes. And and the best way of doing that is to collectively join the trust and get the money in there, because the more money we got, the more we can do as a football club. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm getting the usual, stuff from people. Oh, you should go for the board this time. It's something that I wouldn't say it's never interested me. I've just never thought I'm right for it. Although I can it's not really confirming anything, but I can say that this time I'm giving it some consideration.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody who's actually been watching all of this has made it this far, who would have their own personal comments on whether you think it could be right for me to go for that, feel free to put a comment in. Anyone's opinion, sort of counts towards me making my decision on that. But I'm giving it some consideration. I feel like I'm in a place where maybe this time I may have something better to offer than I may have done in the past. But to be honest with you, right now I'm happy pushing on with the Amber Army, working with you guys, and doing these videos. So long may this continue at least.
Yeah.
Cool.
Even if it's just
right then. So that pretty much wraps it up for us then. So thank you those who watched. Thank you all those who made it this far. Thanks for keeping on with us. Like I said, feel free to drop some comments in if you have anything you want to say regarding some of the points that we've made during the video. Feel free to drop your own opinions in, whether you agree or disagree with any of what we've said. And like I said, talking points for next time. You know, the more we got to talk about, the more of these videos we'll put out, basically. Isn't that right, Ollie?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right, so thanks again. Cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.
Up the county. Bye.